folks, Charlie Sims here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're having a lovely day and thank you for joining me for a speed build. And today we are building Pigulock Manor. So this house is, I don't really think it's to the styles and tastes of Tina and Yasmin Tinker at all. So what I wanted to do was to make this a little bit hodgepodge, I guess. So it's like a mixture of craftsman, well I guess it's craftsman, but then I imagined that Tina has added an extension on the property. So there's like a little bit of an extension and it's just like a little bit disjointed. So they've got like a garage that is in a different style to the home, and then the extension looks different to the home as well. So yeah, I guess it's a bit of a mixed bag of styles and colours. And yeah, I really wanted it to look like when they initially bought it, it was a small suburban home. And then Tina had added an extension on it because she's like a master maker. And the family are actually pretty loaded. So Tina is like a very successful maker. And then Yasmin, her wife, is a very successful writer. So I think they've got a bit of money. And actually, I didn't need to use any money cheats. I just used the money that they had. But yeah, I certainly think that their original home, it didn't look like it reflected the personalities of them, especially Tina, who I just feel like would have a bit more of a quirky style. She certainly seems very young in like what she wears. I don't feel like she would be in a house like Pigulock Manor, or if she was, I feel like she would do it up straight away. Well, the original Pigulock Manor, I should say. I think I call it Pigulock Manor, but I think it is Pigulock Manor. It's just really hard to say. But yeah, I certainly think something like this is more to like her taste. And Yasmin has got her own study as well, and well, I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to it, but I was thinking that Tina like made it for Yasmin as like a engagement present, or maybe when they got married as like a present, she made her study, because the study is actually in the extension as well. And you probably noticed that I flipped which way round this house was, and this is because I wanted it to match the road, so it was like facing the opposite way to the rest of the houses in the road, and I didn't really want that, so we changed it. But we do have like a driveway that I add later, and that like backs onto the road, but the front of the home is opposite this pavement, not the road. So now I'm just making a little driveway. I like to put drives in my builds just because it just adds a little bit of realism. Even though we don't have cars in The Sims at the moment, I still think they're gonna somehow need to get their car onto the road. If we're pretending this is real life, they're gonna need to get their car on the road. And I do end up making this that driveway that I just fleshed out, I do end up making that a dirt patch, which I think looks quite good in the end. I moved this fence so many times. Now I'm just sorting out like a little, this is the extension, this side with like the sloped roof. This is the extension, and I'm just adding like some windows, so this makes up like a little conservatory. I think it actually ends up being their living room. The extension isn't very obvious at the moment, but I think when we add the wallpapers, it really like differentiates what the extension is, what the original home was, you know, the new garage. And I just think it looks really good as soon as we add like a little bit of wallpaper. But at the moment, this is like basically the shape of the house done. We use a lot of platforms in this build, which causes me a bit of pain, to be honest. They're still a little bit buggy, the platforms. But I had a lot of fun with this, and I was happy to use platforms a bit more because I haven't really used it that often on my channel, or in my builds that I've done in my channel. But right now I am wallpapering the main part of the house. So the original part of the house, or just the whole original house, is blue, and then in my mind Tina added the extension that is yellow onto the left with the tin roof. And then we also add like this extension at the top, like a doormat, and it's we don't use it or anything, there's no ladder up to it. So yeah, it's purely decorative, but I think that looks quite cool as well, especially that because it's kind of like an eco container. I thought that was kind of fun. And also the garage is a bit different. That's wooden, and there's a different roof texture to that as well. And then I also accent some parts of the traditional house with like stone, so which I think makes it look a bit more craftsman. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how this turned out in general. I think it looks, as I said, just like a mix of a load of different styles, and I think it's really fun, and I think it's somewhere where Tina and Yasmin would actually live. So in a moment I'm going to be moving on to doing the front porch. We just add a little bit of landscape, but nothing crazy here. We add the blue bushes from Island Living. Well, they have some like blue flowers on, and I just thought because the wallpaper was blue, we could have some blue flowers as well. And we're using some of those craftsman columns from Seasons. So I really wanted to use this stunning door from Strangerville, so I had to make the walls medium height on the ground floor, which meant I didn't like any of the windows that were medium height, so this is why I've covered it up with a flower bed and then some bushes, and I've got some steps down using the platform, and it was basically so I could use these smaller windows that I actually like, but they look a little bit ridiculous if you don't have platforms covering them up because the walls are just so much taller compared to the windows. And now I'm just pulling out these are actually rugs from Get Together, sorry. And we're just making like an interesting pebble and slab kind of front porch look, I guess, to kind of blend with the pavement. Although, I mean, I know it doesn't really blend with the pavement because we don't have anything like that pavement, unfortunately, but I think like that still looks good. And now we're just fleshing out the back. So we have a raised patio area for barbecues, and we just add some seating here, and then I pull out those hanging plants from the paranormal stuff pack. We have so many packs now that I regularly find me forgetting the names of the packs, so sorry if I keep forgetting the name of the packs. And now I just pulled out that plan from Eco Lifestyle as well, and just used the swatch of the drawing of a rainbow because I thought maybe Olive had been drawing, because I think she's a creative kid and she's like a young maker. We're just having a bit of an informal seating area on this like lower patio bit. I also use the slip and slide that's tested, and that works. Possibly because of the debug fence, like the animation is a little bit weird. You do end up like going into the fence, but it works, it's functional, and I thought it was different to my usual swing set that I put down a lot. Now we're just adding some terrain paint by the horseshoe game as well, so a couple of activities to do outside. And now I'm just fleshing out the driveway, which ends up being a dirt patch. I think I've already said that, I'm not sure. And I think it blends into the surrounding area because there's a lot of grassy areas around, so I thought it was fine that it's a bit of a dirt patch, and we add like tire marks and everything to it as well. So this is me just playing about with the terrain tools really and adding some tire marks. And I think this is basically the front of the house and the garden. Just add a couple of sunbeds onto the balcony, and then we were inside, which is exciting. No, sorry, I told a lie. We add some flower beds to the windows, and then there's this little trick that I didn't make up, but you can use this wooden like balcony and size it down, and then it looks like wooden flower boxes. And I just kind of liked that look because it was a little bit craftsman. Again, I can't remember where I saw this, but I didn't make it up or anything. I just thought, oh, I really like how that looks, and yeah, I think it looks a bit more craftsman than the original box that the flowers are in. But now we are finally onto the inside, and this ends up being quite open plan, which is like a little bit out of my comfort zone. Tina does have her own garage, and yeah, so I think like everything's open plan. Obviously I was just making a bit of a downstairs bathroom, that is an open plan, but the kitchen is, the seating area and the living room, like there's like a wall here and there separating the kitchen from the living room, but no rooms in their own rights, like nothing is like cordoned off or anything. And I actually think it ends up looking really nice. Like I'm surprised, but I am happy with it as well. So you walk in and everything is like completely open. So that was me just creating the living room. So the living room does end up being quite small, and it is in like the, I guess, sunroom part, which might be a little bit annoying in the day, but I do add curtains, and obviously, you know, it's Sims, so we don't have anything like, you know, sun in the telly or whatever, but like for realism there's like some curtains down. And now we're also making a dining table as well, a dining area. and just adding a little hutch and a couple of plants. And I absolutely love this plant from Paranormal Stuff. Just still really loving the paranormal stuff. And now I'm fleshing out the kitchen. So we end up separating the kitchen somewhat. And then I put, because you have to like walk along the corridor and down the stairs to get to the dining table, which might be like a little bit annoying if you've got food. So we have like a wall separating the entranceway from the kitchen. So we add a, well, I don't know what it's called, but we have a window. So you put the food on one side on the table on the side of the kitchen, and then there's another table on the other side and a window, so you can kind of like pass food to the other side instead of like coming all the way around the wall kind of thing. I mean, you'll see it in a minute. Like I'm about to put a window down, and then we put two end tables on either side. I don't know. I guess you get them in like cafes, right? I thought that was like a bit of fun. I thought maybe Tina did that or something. And I think a lot of materials that I used for the furnishings of this house were wooden because I thought they would look more crafted. So I wanted it to look kind of everything to look handmade. Even this end table from Snowy Escape, I think that's great because it really looks made and repurposed, and that was really what I was going for on the interior, as Tina is like a master maker. That's what I really wanted. And we're just doing the little entranceway now and figuring out the flooring. So I do put, I think I use the Wild West. Yes, I do. I'm obsessed with that Wild West flooring that we got from Get Famous. Absolutely obsessed. Still using this wallpaper from Paranormal Stuff. I've forgotten it again. Thought it was different and lightened it up a little bit because the wood's quite dark and we've got dark flooring, and I just thought I'd lighten it up a little bit in places. And yeah, I just really like that as like an accent wallpaper. I just absolutely love it. We also use, as you can see, all the picture collage from Paranormal Stuff as well. And then we're just adding some plants, lightening it up a bit more, and I'm making like a little shelving unit as well, and I'm just making it look like a shelf by putting like a couple of things on, and I would just assume that they would put their coffee on there and things like what you'd use for an end table, but I couldn't like fit an end table in. So yeah, we use a lot of worn looking industrial brick in like a dark brick and then a light brick, and I think they go together really nice. And I decided to put a desk under here because I think it's the perfect place for a desk. This house is fully tested, so this desk works, the desk under the stairs. And we later add to it a little bit, and I think I actually switched the desk up later. There is also like a formal office for Yasmin with her own desk for writing, because Yasmin is a writer. So I figured she would have her own space to work, like Tina's garage, and that was more a family computer for Olive to look up things for school, things like that. That's just the family computer. But now we are deciding on some wallpapers, so I end up going with the eco lifestyle wallpaper that I totally forget about, but I think that fits this perfectly. So we end up accenting some walls with that because I didn't want all the walls to be the same because it's so open plan. I wanted like a little bit of variety, and I think it looks really cool. It's quite different for me, but I think it works. So just adding a few bits here and there, changing up the colours a little bit. Not too much though. Adding like some pops of colour here and there. And yeah, just filling up a bit of space really. We do later go back to the kitchen and clutter the kitchen up as well. Thought this looked really cool, so I end up changing the swatch of this to orange, and then we have that as just, I don't know, a bit of an accent piece. And then I'm just having wall light that looks a little bit like it could light up your desk area and laptop area or wherever you're doing your homework. So now I'm just on to cluttering up the kitchen. So I add just some soap, a few plants, a coffee machine, and then we add a hanging tea towel, and we have quite a bit of cluttering to do, so I use the counters from Snowy Escape with a lot of space for clutter. But the good news is we do have a lot of clutter in The Sims now, so I was able to add quite a bit, just adding some sauces onto the side. I don't end up putting it on the side, I just end up putting it on one of the counters. And then I also end up moving the cake stand as well, because I just think that's a table that needs to be kept clear, because that's where the plates are going to be passed through the window, so we don't put like too much clutter on those. But I'm just adding a little chopping section, also put a knife block, adding some hanging soaps there. Oh yeah, I also add that as well as like a little bar area, and I think I added it because it looked made. Again, I think it's something that like maybe Tina has installed, and I thought it looked like that. So, and then as a bit of a change, I do end up adding this wall decal from Get Famous, I believe, and I think that looks nice at the back of the oven. I think that looks a bit different. Adding some teapots as well. Just yeah, the sides were really easy to clutter up, to be honest. And then even when I moved to cluttering up the shelves in the counters, in the counter, I found it quite easy as well. So yeah, we're just adding those paranormal plates. I do always think back, like, how did I miss that the plates were called paranormal? Gonna have to start like looking out for things. If I were to guess what was coming next, I would definitely say Generations, only because we now have bunk beds. And like, I don't know, I feel like the Sims team are like kind of listening to the community lately. So I don't know, I feel like we might get it, but who knows? Hoping for a good game pack as well, because I do really enjoy game packs, and I was like a bit disappointed by the last one, Journey to Batu. So I'm like looking forward to a decent game pack, because it's been a while since we had a decent game pack. Just adding some towels as well. I was thinking that they were tea towels, and then I added a plate that I think Olive has drawn on. And then, oh yeah, and then I had a couple of bar stools under there, so kind of making that multifunctional as well. Also adding a bookcase here, and I absolutely love this shelving unit from Laundry Day. I think it looks expensive. I think it looks made. I don't know. There's something about it. It looks like there's a shop by me where you can buy things like this, and it's like kind of bougie, I guess, but also like handmade, and it just looks really nice. And yeah, I just really like this piece from Laundry Day. So we're just cluttering this up with a lot of books, and I think we have in the house, like we definitely do have upstairs, a working bookshelf. Whether this works, I'm not entirely sure. But that was the bookshelf anyway. We are now moving on to Tina's garage. So I put everything that a maker needs here, and also the woodworking bench, because she's got a little bit of handiness as well. So add the woodworking bench. Then I also add the recycler, and I add the fabricator. So everything you could need as I don't even know, I assume she's just a freelance maker, Tina, right? I don't think she's a civil engineer or anything. I think she's in the freelance career. Didn't check, to be honest. Checked Yasmin's job, and she's a freelance author, but I didn't check Tina's, to be honest. But yeah, so this is her little maker section. And yeah, we don't put too much here. Put a sink and a bin, because I reckon after some woodwork you probably want to wash your hands. Also put a heater, because I think it probably gets cold in the garage. Also add laundry to this build as well, which is a bit of fun. So sometimes I add laundry, sometimes I don't, but I thought we've got the room, so I add like some laundry. And I also make a little sunken area for the shower as well, so it looks like a shower, if that makes sense. So, you know, because I think sometimes when you put a divider down and you don't sink where you stand in the shower, it can look a bit like a wet room, and I didn't want it to look like a wet room. And yeah, just adding a little toilet and then a DIY sink. So that is the downstairs bathroom basically. I forget which wallpaper I use, but I think it ends up looking a little bit blue. These are my all-time favourite blinds from Snowy Escape. Absolutely love them in that swatch and actually need to stop using that swatch. I'm quite good at noticing when I reuse things and then I try and switch it up. Also, I always forget about this soap from Spa Day, but I really like putting it on the side of sinks. So, gonna do that a bit more as well, I think. But not too much because I want to give you guys some variety. But soon we are going to be moving upstairs, and I think we're going to be working on the corridor, just figuring out some wallpaper and flooring before we move on. I think I'll move on in a little bit. I end up going with this flooring and then this wallpaper as well. Oh, and I'm just adding some curtains as well before I move on upstairs, just for a little bit of privacy. But now I'm just figuring out the floor plan for the upstairs. So we end up having a desk area, office area for Yasmin, and then we have Yasmin and Tina's bedroom, and then Olive's bedroom. So it is actually 3-bedroom, although one of the bedrooms is a study. And I was initially making this study kind of like stereotypical, using some of the writer stuff. And then I thought we'd brighten it up a little bit. So I think this room is very much to Yasmin's taste, and I think the whole house is very much Tina's taste. And I was actually thinking that Tina like decorated this or like made a lot of things to go in this room for Yasmin and kind of said like, this is your room, decorate it however you like, kind of thing, because I think that Tina's made most of the house. So this ends up being really colourful, and yeah, I think Yasmin's favourite colours are like pastel colours, light colours. So yeah, this ends up being pink, green, just light colours. It's quite vibrant, and I also thought here was where Olive could like kind of sit with her friends, like watching the rain or something. I don't know. That's what I had in my head anyway, so that's why there's like some cushions and like a rug on the floor. But and there's like a little bookcase divider, and that's Yasmin's area. So yeah, I thought like this came out really nice, and we do end up using the Machino wallpaper, which I don't use often, but I absolutely love that wallpaper. And it was really nice using some of the pastel colours actually, because I don't often use colours like this, but I really enjoyed doing it in one of the rooms. And I'm really enjoying Tool for sizing up at the moment. I don't do anything complicated with Tool, but sometimes when you use the square bracket keys, they either size up and down too small or too big. And the scale functionality that comes with Tool Mod allows you to have a bit more control about how much you scale. So yeah, this is the room, super vibrant, very different to the rest of the house, and very to what I imagine is Yasmin's taste. Obviously, we don't know any Sims taste because it's not really a thing in The Sims, so all made up, and probably just an excuse for me to use the pastel colours, but I think it turned out really fun. But now we're onto the master bedroom, Yasmin and Tina's bedroom, and I really like what I do here. They've got like a wardrobe overhead unit that I think's really nice, and they've also got some end tables as well. And yeah, just I think this room is really nice. We go back to like the dark wood that we've had throughout the house. It's a bit more Victorian looking, but I quite like that. And again, I think this is a design choice. I don't think anything is old in this, and I don't think anything is to their taste. I think they're well off and they've made a house that they want to live in, basically. So I think this kind of Victorian theme is very much to their tastes. I don't think this is old because they haven't been able to decorate the house. I think they have their dream home right now. But now I'm making a bespoke wall unit that comprises of a television, some storage, a lot of books. I use that vintage glamour divider at the back, and I think that looks really good. And also put a light in. I think that looks made by Tina. Use the tool scaling functionality so that it's not too small. And also a little trick, I also elevate the curtains like a little bit lower. So if you're having some problems with curtains, I would really recommend the tool mod for lowering them a little bit. So we've moved on to Olive's room, and I really wanted to work with platforms, but platforms weren't really working for me for this build, to be honest, because the roof kept clipping. So I could raise the platform, but I couldn't open up the wall, like I couldn't remove the wall, so I just used some arches and that worked, and it's all tested and it works, so that's really good. It did take me a long time though, but her room is jungle themed and I think it's really fun. I don't use any custom content. This is just all, I mean, I use all the packs, but I don't use any custom content to make like a jungle theme room. I just use this like banana motif wallpaper that I think we get with the base game, and then this from Backyard Stuff, the frogs, some butterflies as well, and the tiger swatch. And yeah, I just think it ends up like looking kind of jungle like, and I think it's just really fun. So yeah, this is Olive's room, and again, this is all play tested, so everything works. And yeah, I do also end up putting a panda chair on the other side as well, but I kind of do that at the end, and I really like this flooring, so this is the flooring and the wallpaper for both bathrooms now. So, and we make a little bit of a stand-in shower, yeah. So I create like a shower unit and then just put a shower in there, so just to make it look a bit I don't know, it's purely like aesthetics. I just think it looks nice, and we have the room up here, so we only have 2 bathrooms, but they are 2 full bathrooms, and there is only 3 people in the house, so I think you're not going to get annoyed with lack of bathrooms or anything. So this is all good. I've played them for a few days and it wasn't annoying, so happy days. And yeah, so I also put some towels on the bespoke shower as well. And now we're on to the corridor. That is a very big corridor, so initially I wasn't sure what to put down, and as I said, it's been a while since I did this build, so again, I'm not actually sure what I end up adding to this corridor. I think like a few rugs. Oh yes, I put this plant on a stool, and yeah, just some more kind of standout pieces. I love this kind of display cabinet that we get with paranormal stuff as well. I haven't been able to use it because it's quite big, but I have like obviously used it for this build and I think it works really well. I love the floor to ceiling windows that they've got. I use the Snowy Escape windows, and I just keep imagining them like lying on the floor on a rug, looking out of the windows and watching the rain. And I know you can't do that in The Sims, like, you can't do that. It's just, that's what I imagine when I see those windows. Anyway, we're finishing off the corridor now. So adding, adding some more just pieces that they've acquired, some antiques they've acquired from, I mean, just being like rich really between them. Like as I've said, they're both quite established, and yeah, and I think they've just got a lot of taste. So yeah, add in a couple of blinds and then I think we are done with the build. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you'd like to see more content from me, please hit subscribe. Catch you later.